Abe on the other end.
Nice.
And we're just going to let the Chicago Hounds chop it up for a little bit and have a good time. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this fan stuff, and we'll get rid of wheels.
Thanks, mate. We got the wide one.
Thanks, mate.
Let's meet the supply chain technology lineup. Coil machines, a powerful combination of access, control, and traceability. Sensor devices, take what you need, the device reports who, what, and how much. Multi-use lockers, vend bulk items, manage assets, and pick up orders. And electronic bins, avoid stockouts with 24/7 inventory monitoring. The key to the game, a local blue team to keep your supply chain moving full speed ahead. Fastenal, where industry meets innovation.
This is life. This is rugby. Devour it. Throw your arms around it. Breathe it in and in and in. We are not here to hold back. We are here to brave new paths, to rise up together and become something greater. This is life. This is rugby. This is the rise of rugby. This is Major League Rugby.
How are you out of 10?
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 How are you out of 10? How are you out of 10?
It's a simple question
that can help start a conversation. It's a tough one if they're struggling in silence. I think just being there for them, sometimes they may need some advice. Sometimes it may just be best to just be a listening ear and just being a friend for them.
I think more often than not, somebody struggling goes unnoticed because the person struggling doesn't want to bring it up, and trying to make them as comfortable as possible to bring those emotions and bring those feelings to light.
You find probably the best way to approach them about it, whether that's just you or maybe it's getting someone else to do it that's closer to that teammate. You don't leave it alone, and you definitely try and help them out.
You're not alone. Lots of people go through shit every day. I know it's not easy always to talk about it, but eventually you'll get there. Don't need to push it. Just take your own time, and eventually, people will be there to listen to you.
Don't be scared to ask for help. Everyone goes through a tough time. You can't go on alone. There's no way to do it. So don't be afraid to ask for help.
It's easier said than done, but talk to it a bit. If it's your girlfriend, if it's your best friend, if it's someone you don't know, just tell someone what's bothering you. Get it off your chest, don't bottle it up.
Oh God, that looks way too good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Wow, that is a little loud. I got to bring that down just a little bit. But you see our panel has a little bit changed here more. We've got Charlie. Now we got Nate Osborne in as well, too. We'll be joining with this awesome fly flamingo shirt.
Yeah, the summer,
I like that.
Mate.
Did you get that from Scott Reeling? Because I gave him a shirt just like this, and he never gave it back to me.
I got it from Old Navy.
Got from Old Navy.
Yeah,
That's
Old
good.
Navy
Good
sales.
deals there,
Great
man.
gift. That was a great gift from Scott.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. But, hey, let's go ahead. We're going to throw it down to Ty Braga right now. He's out there. He's with some rugby fans that we got out there. So go ahead and bring us in, Ty, and tell you what you got going on.
Tailgate experience for the MLR Championship. We're down outside the stadium with a few young rugby fans, and we wanted to be able to take a moment to be able to ask them one important question. What does it mean for you as a young rugby fan growing up in Chicago, playing your rugby here, and to have the MLR final right here in your backyard?
It's awesome. It's amazing. Growing up, playing rugby, having friends and family play rugby, it's been a part of the Southside Chicago culture, and to see it be represented here and to have the Hounds finally join the MLR, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, and all round we're hearing the same sentiments from fans down here. But the one important question is we have them gathered. Who is going to take the championship shield? Gentlemen, who do you think it's going to be?
Free Jacks, baby! Let's make history!
Well, hold on. Just for a moment, I noticed there's one gentleman in the center who may have said something different. It obviously shows you who's supporting who by the color of their shirt. What did you say?
I said Legion San Diego. They're an explosive team, and they're going to get it done. They're underdogs, but they're a great team, and I think they're going to finish hard.
Well, that's an interesting take there. San Diego, of course, last made this final in 2019. It'll be interesting to see if that's a factor in what they do. They come with a wonderful record with the 16 games, having won 15 of those. The Free Jacks also winning 14 of their 16, leading up to this opportunity. It's going to be an interesting battle, but we leave it to the gentlemen upstairs to tell us what they think more about this opportunity for the MLR final in a few moments coming your way.
All right, Loyola Rugby. Look at those guys right there. Free Jacks fans, they're getting ready to go, getting pumped up here at the 2023 MLR Final here at Seatgeek Stadium, home of the Chicago Hounds. And speaking of Chicago Hounds, what we got over there in the end? We just added somebody else over here now. That's who? Who do we got over there? Is that Charlie Abel?
It is. Charlie, unfortunately.
The Westie. Put all the Aussies on. Smart move. Throw the Aussies on.
And Nate Osborne.
Yeah.
I just looked right past you.
Mate,
I apologize. I need to get out of your way. I just did that.
I'd start that way too. Look at the size of these blokes, man.
I mean, you guys are all from the same area, huh? Jeez, look at that. But anyway, so let me step out of the way and let you Australians chop it up. We'll get ready for the next block. We'll really got to put you under pressure. Yeah. Analysis, talk about what's going on right now. But the All-Australian Hour, let's go.
Let's do it. Boys, how you guys doing? You enjoying Chicago?
Good, mate.
Good, mate.
Yeah, I love Chicago.
Just all the more better for hearing your silky tones, listening to some of the review, like watching the review of our games, hearing your commentation or your commentary. Commentation.
That's a good word.
Yeah, you can put that on your CV.
Yeah, I'll put a commentation.
Mate, I know you're asking questions, but just to give you some feedback, I thought you did a great job on the commentary.
Thank you, mate.
Really
Thank you.
it.
Always, mate. We're going to get you back on the coaching.
Yeah, mate.
Coaching too,
I don't know if I kind of like it and love it at times, but it's not like coaching, mate. It's not the ups and downs, the wins and losses, you know.
Yeah.
When you don't have a dog in the fight, it's pretty easy to just pick teams to pieces. But what do you guys think of this one? Like, you guys played against both these teams?
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
I think San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm back in San Diego. I think the pitch suits them probably. They're playing on the grass similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big field. I think. I'm just here to see good footy.
Yeah.
I'm just here to see good rugby. You can't do that, bro. You got to pick someone.
On the day, Lukey.
No, I mean San Diego. I think are the strong favourites, but Free Jacks are such a good team. They've been building for the last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
They got such a good defence. A well-drilled team.
Yeah.
Only been in the league for 4 years, but
4 years. Yeah, but they've been prepping.
Oh
yeah, 5-6.
Yeah, so fair.
Fair.
We'll give it for years.
No, I think it'll be a good game. Obviously, San Diego will be tough to beat.
Yeah.
Weather conditions, I think if it starts raining, could favour New England a little bit.
Yeah.
But as Charlie said, the grass field here is the exact same as San Diego, so it'll be an interesting matchup.
What do you think?
Yeah, I didn't really want to make a decision, but
yeah,
I actually think New England, in terms of they know who they are, they know what game they're trying to play.
Yeah.
In terms of they have amazing strike power and so many great players, and I hope Nate Osberger has a great game today, but I think the fact that New England is so
spoiler.
Yeah, and I like that it's at a neutral ground. I think that if it was up in New England, they're the favourites. If it was in San Diego, they're the favourites. I think it's tight, man.
Yeah.
I think it's like Tammy and Paul on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Very hard to get apart.
Defensive system.
Yeah.
That it's just who's going to find the crack first.
Right. And I know that when I was game planning against both these teams, different game plans, it's kick long as you can and zero ruck. And just put pressure on New England in their half. They get over antsy and they try and play from their own end at times.
Yeah. One thing we haven't spoken about is the scrum, and I think we brought Charlie Abel on here. Especially for that.
Yeah, that's exactly why I got him on here.
So what do you reckon, Charles, scrum time?
I think it's a big challenge here. Like, I think with the way this league is, and a lot of calls get made pretty quick. So if whoever can get on the top of that sort of momentum, get the call. I think New England have a rock solid scrum.
Yeah.
They got hints, nice, strong in that space, be real strong in there. And I do think if I am putting it on, if the rain comes in, I back New England scrum just slightly. Sorry, Corbs, I love you, Corbs. Sorry, but I do just slightly. I like their compact. They got a nice little punch, and they got tight heads that just bang.
Yeah.
If the scrum was determined on the scrum coach's passion and energy,
if you go passion and energy,
San Diego
winning
win
everything.
the World Cup this year.
They'll win the World Cup. Passion and energy. Corbs has got the most passion and energy I've seen out of a human, just in general. The passion.
I think from a game point of view, sometimes scrums can determine the outcome. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big factor. If the scrums don't come into it, then that plays into San Diego's hands for sure.
Yeah, and I think the line out as well. I think New England's so good in the green zone. They just come away with points every time they get down there.
Yeah.
San Diego struggle at times with their line out, and that's going to be an interesting battle as well.
It'd be interesting because San Diego have Isaac Ross coming off the bench, probably the best line out operator in the comp.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I was, pretty surprised to see that he wasn't in the starting lineup last week for the semi-final, and again him coming off the bench this week.
Yeah.
But I think Benny Grant, he can operate a pretty good line out, and he's a big boy.
Yeah.
So if he can find his spaces and Summer can hit the mark, but I do think New England can put a lot of pressure on there. Yeah. That's. But you've seen games before, like Houston played San Diego earlier, and they weren't getting the rub of the green with the scrum, but they still won that game, So it's a crazy team they got, San Diego. They don't always have to dominate the set piece, and they can still find a way.
Yeah, they can find a way. Yeah, they got some firepower out there, and they seem to come home strong. They seem to grind you down, and then they score points late. Where New England come firing out of the gates and try and get early points and try and hold on. So great game, great matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a couple of guys on both teams, but the two centres, the two 13s, I'm really keen to see. Marcel Braki has had, he's probably in the conversation of player of the tournament, and then Benny Lesage, great player. Against us, if he didn't play, we probably win the game by 20. He was so good that day.
So good.
I think some great players there. There's some, the battles of the back rows. Christian Poitevin coming off a pretty big injury. He's had a great season. Big Tamulau. So it'll and I think the hard-working New England back row, they're so good to watch, and they hardly miss a tackle, and they've got far and away the most dominant tackles for the season. And so they're just an uncompromising defence. And if San Diego are playing 10 phases in the middle of the field, then New England's probably got the ascendancy.
Yeah, that line speed they bring is pretty hard to deal with at times. Coming off those sidelines where they just kill off those sidelines. They're right up. Yeah.
They look comfortable in D. They look like they don't mind going 10, 12 phases without the ball.
Yeah.
New England. If they live in the middle of the field just defending, they look like they don't mind. They're happy to stay there. So I do think, if New England can keep that score close or keep it within in the first half, it'll be a massive fight. I don't know if...
Speaking about players of the tournament, you mentioned Marcel. Who else? Who do you think? You guys played against some guys. You were coaching against guys. Who do you think are the standout guys that you come up week after week and you go, this is the guy that we need to really watch?
Some of the wingers have just been standouts. Like Nate Osborne.
He's been great.
Probably is the player of the tournament. But then, Joe
Bellicana.
Bellicana's been awesome. That's another matchup.
From Seattle.
Tucci's been very good too.
Mate, Ricard, even though he missed a whole chunk of games, try-scoring machine.
Yeah.
There's a lot of names. JP Duplessis was going great for the first.
JP played well too. Yeah.
For a whole chunk of that season, he was back
great.
to his best. I think that he's been in years. I think there's a lot of players that could put that. It's a tough one to decide whoever's deciding those awards this
Usually
year for
there's
MVP
someone that runs away
back.
with it. Usually someone just has a stellar year and then
and there's no competition
Waka last
for
year
it.
was unreal.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of guys.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, like Billy Meeks won back of the year for the last 2 years in a row. You know, this year there's probably 6 guys that they could give it to any of them, and you're going to go, absolutely, that makes sense.
Right.
So, yeah, be interesting to see who's the best player on the field today. Will it be Ma?
It could come down to one of those wingers, mate. One of those wingers getting a brace or pulling something out.
Who you picking? Man of the match.
Man of the
If you had
match?
to pick it right now, who would you pick? I'm going to say Richard Judd.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Big
he's
Juddy.
been good too, hey. He's been very good too.
Big body 9, great balls, can kick, mate.
It could come down to him and Poland too.
Yeah.
Poland's
Poland's
quick. Takes it when
both unreal.
he's at his best when he's taking those taps and he's
Yeah.
doing those little chip and chases.
Great player.
Yeah, he's great.
I'll go Poland.
You
Yeah.
got to go Poland.
He's a great player. Both him and Judd have had standout seasons.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
great
Yeah.
players. I think the other one that could come out of the bag would be Malolo. He could have such a strong influence in the game.
Yeah.
A couple
Yeah,
of
he
big
could.
tackles,
Yeah.
a couple of huge runs. Yeah,
Yeah.
Could be anyone. Whitey. who's
I'm going to throw a spanner in the works and say Shaquille O'Neal. I heard that Dave Temelau's coming off after 40 and they're putting Shaq on at number 8.
They're switching out DJ.
Wouldn't you
DJ
love to
and,
see Shaq
player.
winding up from the back fence?
I'd love to see that. Hey, just a bit on Shaq, I heard his schedule. So he played in Calgary last night, flew his PJ down here
Yeah.
maybe this morning,
Yeah,
playing here today, and then he's got a concert in Vegas tonight.
Does he?
as you do.
Really?
Yeah.
After party, is it?
What a man.
Something like-
yeah.
He's
So-
probably
yeah,
got an
something like-
after party too.
Yeah.
And back on the plane tomorrow morning.
I won't go into the details, but his rider for the room that he needs today, what we need to put in there for it, it's interesting.
Is it?
Yeah, it's.
Give us a couple. What's the most interesting thing that pops up?
I think 8 Papa John's pizzas.
8?
Must be. Oh, he's got a crew.
Oh, he's got his
as well.
entourage with him, yeah.
I think there was like six specific types of tequila.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think there was specifications around colour of Starburst or Skittles.
They do it just to mess with you.
Yeah, I think so.
They do it just for a laugh.
They want 24 refrigerated waters. They want 24 room temperature waters. Yeah, so
Really?
they cover it. Like
It was 24 boxes,
Hey.
wasn't it?
very
Pays to be a star, eh?
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
get anything.
Ah, he's a
I didn't
big
even
dog.
get a room temperature water when I
Charlie,
turned
what
up.
did you get for your rider when you did your scrum camps?
When I used to do those, it was just like, if anyone's got some gum and that, can I have a piece?
What colour
Not-
M&Ms did you ask for, mate?
Yeah, can I just have a piece, please, of gum? And that's it. And
Just
that
a
was-
piece of pizza?
Yeah.
Easy man to please this one.
Oh, I love it.
No. You reckon Shaq would go right in the line out? You reckon you can get him up?
What
Big
is he?
boy.
He'd be able
390,
to lift,
380?
mate, eh? He's a monster.
But
He'd be good. He'd do a good lift though.
a good.
Yeah, back lifter. Put him
Yeah,
in the back
back-
tail of the
back
line,
lifter,
back lifter.
He could pack number 8 at scrum too. He could pack in main
Oh.
scrum.
Yeah. No, that's
Mate.
Lukey's spot, mate.
Yeah,
From prop to 8, he's Benjamin Button going backwards, mate. The opposite of everybody else. Everyone
The
gets
young
fat,
buck.
moves in. Lukey's getting fitter as he gets older.
I would love to see that though. Shaq winding up, giving the
Yeah.
ball with a 30-metre run up.
I wouldn't want to be 10, him coming off the back, mate.
You'd need
Coming
4
down
blokes
your
to
channel.
tackle him.
30-metre run up. He'd run out of breath.
You see some of Malolo would
He's like
take
he's
his knees
making
out. bro.
free throws, mate. He couldn't make a free throw.
Just
He wouldn't,
joking.
he wouldn't make it 30 metres.
Yeah. Just joking, Jack. I love it.
Hey, got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Were you paying attention to the NBA in 2005?
Yep.
So Colin Hawley yesterday swears that they were cheated. Golden State was cheated out of the finals for Shaq, and that he was going to say that to him. You think he's actually going to say that to Shaq? Go up to him and tell him that he cheated in the 2005 finals? Colin Hawley?
Colin Hawley? No.
Yeah. No.
Come on, bro. Never.
Shaq would use him as a toothpick.
I think he would. Yeah, I tell you, he can still take high balls. We were down there on the pitch earlier, kicking it up. He's just going aggressively, grabbing it.
He's a good guy, Colin Hawley.
All that. Now he's up in the booth. Right,
Yeah.
call him out of reserves. Hasn't done a game at all, but now he gets to call the MLR final.
Yeah,
He's done a couple games. What's Colin doing? Right, like
It's all
he's
about
a-
looks, mate. It's all about looks with Colin.
He is a good-looking
He's a
man.
good-looking rooster,
That is a
mate,
good-looking man. That is a good-looking man. But speaking of good-looking men, we've got Ty Braga out there. We've got the Australian panel. Thank you, guys. You get out of here. You got a bucket of kava you need to go kill.
Yeah,
all right, so
kava,
that
mate.
way we'll party after this. We've got an hour left of this broadcast, and we're going to join you guys. You three, thank you for coming. Hey, it's been an absolute pleasure all season.
No,
Like,
thanks,
thank you
Ryan.
for
Appreciate it.
bringing me in and making me feel welcome. For years, I've been doing the behind-the-scenes production stuff, and like in a room. You've been to Austin,
Yeah.
on the other side of the planet, pretty
Right.
much. But to actually get amongst the boys, to see you guys, to be friends, the conversation we had, even on tour, like, thank you. You guys are awesome, man. Hound for life. like 100%. I did get yelled at for wearing a Free Jacks jersey yesterday, but I said, nobody's giving me a Hounds jersey. I'll wear one of those Hounds jersey. So I'll take that, Jess. If you can put one aside for me, we'll get that.
Right, but thanks for that. I appreciate that. And I think your job, whilst you get all this content stuff, it's a very thankless job. And I do appreciate all the work that goes into all this stuff, because there is a lot of it. And thanks for being on the journey with us.
We'll organise you a T-shirt or something as well.
Tank top. It's a tank top.
Yeah.
Tank top. I just got the sleeves off of this.
Yeah, give me your stuff,
So, but
thanks, boys.
All right, awesome, boys. Hey, we're going to go out, standing by. Ty Braga, Nate Osborne's going to stay with us. These guys are going to go out, party, kill the Kava, and let's go ahead and kill the Kava. Let's go. And throw it down to Ty Braga down there in the parking lot.
And once again, we're down here in the tailgating experience for the MLR final. But we've now brought together a couple of San Diego Legion fans, and I thought I'd ask them the same question that I'd asked many of the Free Jack fans. Maureen, I got to ask you, obviously you're a San Diego fan, but do you have a score prediction for our fans listening in?
San Diego's going to take it by 14.
14, a 2-try difference. That's a bold statement, but not unlikely, because anything can happen when it's the MLR final. We also got Kanan over here. Now, interestingly enough, Kanan is a San Diego fan for obvious reasons. You can see that, but he's not one that hails from its traditional land in San Diego. In fact, he's from Wisconsin. So Kanan, I got to ask you, how important is it to you, how great an opportunity is it to be able to have a final hosted in a neutral city as Chicago is?
It's great being able to come, enjoy rugby, go to a game you love, watch a team you love, all right close to home. It's an amazing experience. I love it, yeah.
And Seatgeek is certainly one of the great venues of Major League Rugby, as you'll come to be able to see the pitch is green, it's made of grass, and that makes for great rugby. So, of course, we're here and we're excited for the MLR final!
How to mask things that are going on in their life, but when you know someone well enough, you can see through those masks, hopefully. And when you do notice something a bit different, just asking the question, how you doing?
I think it's as simple as calling somebody randomly and just saying, hey, what's up, how are you? I think the daily intent of checking in on someone is so valuable that sometimes we just forget about it and we don't put as much attention towards that I think we should.
When you walk in, you say hi to everyone, and then, just talking to guys, not about rugby, just about off the field stuff, families, just getting to know guys more and, understanding what they're going through, if they're going through something. Usually everyone is.
Yeah, I think it's important just to check in on them, not just at rugby practice, but also just if it's a text message on a day off, just grabbing a coffee, just by being there for them, just lending in ear, cracking a joke. Little things go a long way.
Having a partner, even if it's just one person you can rely on, to say, hey man, look, I'm struggling with this right now. I'm going through this. I just need to chat. But making that connection, finding that person to rely on, just finding those people who can help lift you up one piece at a time, because it can be really easy to hide out because you don't want to feel like a burden to others. You don't want to make yourself vulnerable. But when you finally do it, it kind of opens you up a bit. It frees you and it takes a little load off every single time.
Two opposing forces, one cannot exist without the other. The push and the pull, the give and the take. This is what gives rise to all things. This is life. This is rugby. What comes easy takes so much hard work. 1 step forward, 3 steps back. 100 setbacks, then, out of nowhere, a breakthrough. This is life. This is rugby. Devour it. Throw your arms around it. Breathe it in and in and in. We are not here to hold back. We are here to brave new paths, to rise up together and become something greater. This is life. This is rugby. This is the rise of rugby. This is Major League Rugby.
When you pick up a ball, you also pick up a legacy. A legacy that stretches beyond your current team. And built on the backs of those who came before you with hard work and discipline. And to those who will come after you, we promise it won't be easy. There will be days when you feel like you want to quit. When you're in the cold, in the rain, and in the mud. On those days, we will be there when you need it most.
The one and the only Steve-O here. This is his first rugby game. What are your thoughts on it?
Very large men violently hitting each other.
Watch us for free on TRN.
I use Thorne products pre and post workout to maximize my recovery, muscle growth, make sure that I can be my best self on the field.
Thorne's a supplement company that I can trust. They're NSF certified for sport, so I know that I can take this and know what's in their product.
I use their protein, get my muscles nice and big.
The products I use with Thorne have minimal ingredients, they're high quality, they're clean, they're batch tested, taste amazing, and it made everything in my recovery and my performance better.
If you're not recovering off the pitch, you're not your best self on the pitch. Thorne gets me there.
Stade Toulousain, the most decorated.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2023 Major League Rugby Finals, brought to you live by Next Level Rugby Live here on the Rugby Network, YouTube, Facebook, and everything else. We are in the city of Chicago, and I have a couple of friends with me. It's who do we have this time? Oh, well, we got Matt McCarthy again. We got Rob Hammersmith, and look at that, Scott Lawrence. We got Scott Lawrence on the show, and, not to be outdone, DJ Williams, our resident rugby analyst nerd, coming to us, dropping some stuff on us. So, Matt, I know you got some questions for Scott, so just let it rip, bud.
All right, first off, Scott, thanks for coming on. And folks at home that don't know who he is the current interim GM and head coach of the USA Rugby Men's 15s program, and he was also, you might recognize him as the former head coach / director of rugby of the artists that used to be known as the Atlanta Rugby ATL Rattlers, which is no longer the case. Yeah. But now, Scott, you have taken on the mantle of the men's 15s program from Team USA. Tell us about the U20s and what's going on right now.
They leave for Kenya today after a really good performance against Canada to qualify for the series and start off against a tough Uruguay team. And that's our chance for us to start reclaiming America's one at the U20s level and pushing it all the way up through the top senior level.
Well, so you just mentioned it's the way to build from the youth up, and that's been your mantra, right? And you might ruffle some feathers back at headquarters about that, but it's an important component of what we got to do.
It is. You have to invest early if you want returns in the end, and what we're after is a quarterfinal in 2031. This starts with urgency and funding and development right now. And right
now you're the interim through the end of August.
That's right.
Is there something that you have to do to get you? Do we vote or something? Can we get you in there? Or
hopefully, I'm doing the right things. But I care about my country. I love our rugby. I love these teams, and I'm going to do the best I can. And if that ends up in a job, great. If not, I'll have my time served, and I'll enjoy every second of it.
Can you do an accent?
I don't know. It depends on who you ask.
Fair enough.
So one of the things that I love about Scott, and I've been a big champion of Scott being the head coach for the Eagles for quite some time, because we've gone back to that story when you came back from Europe with the youth program with the young U18s and suffered a significant setback, and from that day forward you said, I'm going to turn things around. Now you're putting a focused emphasis on those U18s and U20s once again with a long-term goal. Has this been a difficult thing to convince other people in USA Rugby and other people in the community in general to make a commitment to?
No, it really hasn't. It's been
I think it's obvious, and it helps to be obvious with what we
Yeah.
need to do right now. And that team hasn't been funded in 6 years, and you know, there was over 383 people who came out and contributed to the U20s campaign. We were able to use some other investment dollars that I found in the budget, and will have over 50 days together this summer as a team, compared to about a week for the last 6 years. So it's just an obvious thing to do.
And for folks that are watching that care about rugby in the United States and USA Rugby more specifically, how can they help the cause? Because I think that's important for us as a community to come together on, is helping grow that youth movement so that we're prepared for 2027 and 2031.
Yeah, play as many games as possible. Keep loving the sport. It's a great sport. Kids will want to be engaged in it. They pick it up. And all those people who serve on the fields, they get paid nothing. They spend their hours and hours doing it. We've all done it. Keep doing it. That's all I can say. You know, the more you do it, the more you do it.
Yeah.
DJ, you got a question for Scott?
Yeah, just with what you've seen within the U20s and seeing how the game is starting to morph, what do you think the style of play that we're going to need in 2031 to kind of push us over the edge?
Yeah, it's tough to say with the law changes and tackle height, and there's always, that's the good thing about rugby, is it's always changing. But I would say for us, we're really focusing on playing through and not around teams right now, using our athleticism and putting our athletes in space one-on-one. And it's really as simple as that, and that'll continue to translate.
Okay. Spot on that one.
Scott, let's move toward the MLR because we are at the championship match. Any Eagle potential players out there that you got your eyes on as a scout, perhaps?
Yeah, well, there's plenty of retired ones on San Diego, and they have a massive influence on that team. So they are serving the jersey well, even into retirement. Mitch Wilson will be starting. He's back after injury from New England. It'll be great to see him in the lineup. But of course, Nate Osberger, he's just he does everything on the field and off the field. So versatile, such a great leader. Shiloh Klein is back coming off the bench for San Diego as a hooker. He's 24 years old. Another good prospect there. And and those will be the key players today.
And how do you feel about the international, domestic arguments out there? Some folks say that we're doing a disservice to the country by not having all the lineup. Others counter, well, it's a professional league and the guys are getting exposure playing with better players each day.
Yeah.
Where do you sit on that?
Well, I think you highlighted the two things that owners and coaches and everyone balance on a week in and week out basis between the governing body and the professional league. We needs to be entertaining and the players need to be high quality, right? So there is that. The only thing that I would say is let's just have a plan.
Yeah.
Let's have a plan for it to be, more Americans playing more minutes. That's a combined plan with the union on growing competency and robustness of young players that can play in the league, and that's a commitment at the league level to making it happen commercially.
So, obviously, Matt hit upon it. 2023 MLR Final, Seatgeek Stadium, Bridgeville, Illinois. You've come to watch this penultimate match of the season. From a coach's perspective, how do you beat San Diego if you're New England?
Oh.
Don't get away from your DNA. I mean, New England has played playoff rugby since the first game of the season. They're a high-power, low-area organization and good kicking game. They move the attack point quite a bit. So I think they have the tools there. I wouldn't get too far away from it because their game plan is incredibly simple but high intensity because it's so simple, right? And so you don't make it complex now. Be who you are.
So flip that question. You're the coach of San Diego. How do you beat New England?
I think the key thing is to hold your leaving time on attack to deal with the line speed and the outside edges. You have superior backs in that regard. Watch your line break. Stay in connection with your support. New England is very good in and around there. And turn New England's strikes off of lineouts into opportunities for you for turnovers. I think too many teams have gone into prevent mode against them attacking off lineout, when actually they're very isolated and there's opportunities there for San Diego to score from.
And both of these sides, despite their very good records, right, they are without question the two best teams in the league, have had discipline issues. Do you think that this might become a factor? Or are they going to be, because you don't want to not play your game, right?
These games at these levels are about physicality and intensity, and when you live on the edge, you're going to have a penalty count that's high. And all the teams that I've had that have great defenses, the ones that have either been a head coach or coached on penalty counts. It's because you want to live on the edge. You have to be aggressive. You have to try and take your opportunities, and with that becomes penalties once in a while.
And do you anticipate a lot of points being scored, or is it a defensive struggle?
Oh, gosh, I think it's going to depend on how Patros and Teo battle it out. If Teo can bait him into kicking into the wrong spots, maybe put some pressure on him. So it'll depend on the territory, really, in the game.
Yeah, and if you're a coach of San Diego, Danny Lee, are you concerned about that penalty count? Is that something that you emphasize in training, or do you just say, you know what, boys, play it as you see it. We got to be aggressive. We got to hit them head on, and we're going to let the chips fall where they may.
They're an experienced team across the board, right? So, you don't have to really train in training. It just becomes a message at the beginning of the week, and you rely on your senior leadership to just pass through discipline throughout the entire team.
And I got to ask you one last question. Back to the USA Rugby MLR relationship. And it's a tough question, but what do you see as the right amount of international slots as opposed to domestic slots on each roster? And is there a tapering off as we go into the future?
I think that's where the plan comes in, in terms of I don't know what the right number is because it's a moving equation with expansion in the league of teams, right? So I think the first thing we can start with is, like anything, start really simple. And that is the first thing is if you're going to be declared American on the roster, then you have to say yes when I call you. Right? We start there. That'll increase the number of Americans playing straight away.
And Scott, are you still putting the cleats on at all? Old boys games or anything?
No, just chasing the kids around the yard. That's it.
Fair enough. Ryan, you have a question for Mr. Lawrence before we let him go?
I've got a million questions for you, but we're running out of time. I just want to say thank you for taking on this challenge. Because I know it's a challenge, but you are definitely a challenge-focused person, and you're not somebody that's afraid of challenges. Right. And you know what? Did we even really get DJ to, his former – because you guys worked together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you guys worked together. Did we even play them off each other, or did you guys completely miss that?
We completely missed that.
He was my
It wasn't on the teleprompter.
This guy was my mad scientist for 2 years.
Well, so we were on – he was talking –
it's funny how that worked.
Team index. He was teaching us his team index thing that he came on, right? We had a call. We're all going on this production. Well, this is that. And it's basically what I took from it. New England's defense is really good, right? Yeah. It's the best in the league. It's what I took from it. But that analytical approach that DJ can take to it in his brain and how he applies that to you as a coach and how you can then use that. Just talk to that real quick before you go.
Well, I think DJ and I just click really well because my background is in mathematics and data science, and so we speak the same language. We see the game through the data the same way, so it's really good. But what DJ does is he makes it very simple. We call it the easy button. Take all of that minutia underneath, everything below the water, and give it an easy button for the coaches. This is the game plan. This is why. 2-3 key points, and he's grown and done really excellent with it over the last couple of years.
And so the Hounds are lucky to have DJ. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. They are absolutely lucky.
Well, and I think this is important because this is a position that I think often gets overglossed and fans have no clue about, right? Like people outside of rugby, outside of the structure, don't realize how much emphasis as a coach that you put it on an analyst to be like, hey, I've got this to worry about, managing the team, running them. Tell me how to do it. Tell me where the weak points are. Tell me what I need to know. Yeah. And I've been fortunate on tour with you to where we're sitting in hotel lobbies and I'm just sitting there filming and listening to what you're saying to Sam and the coaching staff. And it's awesome. It's something that is incredibly impressive, your brain. And I think it's a next level of rugby, right? That we need to start understanding as we get. You like that plug?
Do you see what he just did? Next level rugby of rugby.
And then throwing
just right.
So
were you both looking at that? Do you have something better?
Well, no, I want to add a good friend of ours, David Fee, and I know you and Dave are very close. He said if he were going to start an MLR team, the first hire as GM and head coach, first hire they make is an analyst because they're so critical to what that next level of rugby is going to be and to where the game is going as professionally as a sport.
All right.
Your price tag just
speaking of analyzing, I got to cut you off here. Speaking of analyzing, Scott, thank you for your time. We got 40 minutes left. We got to tell the people at home who's going to win this game, why they're going to win the game, who are these matchups. I don't know. There's this 9 named Judd that's an absolute beast, right? Like a tackling machine. Yeah. And it was interesting. I was sitting with Brianna Kim watching the run through yesterday. And watching that game, all those big hits he was making, he was coming in, defensive stand, and then kind of like staggering.
Yeah,
he was doing that in the warm-up. So that might just be normal Judd, like just straight operating position.
Yeah.
But then his partner Poland, right, that he's going up against, that's going to be great. 12s, 8s, 6s. We can talk about it. So, Scott, thank you for coming on the show. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. We'll be back. We're going to bring in Wheels before he gets out of here, then Nate Osborne, and we're going to break down exactly what's going to happen in this game and a little bit less talk, a little bit more analysis. What do you say, Matt? What do you say, Matt? What do you say? Nothing?
Oh, I'm
okay,
sorry.
we're at commercial.
I'm
We'll
just,
go to commercial.
There's nothing on the teleprompter.
Missed that cue. All right, we're at commercial.
Salt Lake City to face off against the USA national team. It's a game that promises to be filled with passion, grit, and determination. Don't miss out on the chance to witness history in the making. Join us September 17th at America First Field. Get your tickets now at therugbyalliance.com.
Gotta keep my fur coat close because I'm up boss and I'm way too far. It's picked up and it's gonna be walking going the other way. Ejector Davis, the bus is full. Come for me, bro, I'm 0 degrees. Wait.
Chicago, can they find the lead? Cross-field kick to Dominguez. Julian Dominguez with the fin. Dominguez across and down, and the Hounds take the lead. Dominguez, 25-year-old out of Buenos Aires in Argentina, the former Argentina Sevens man. Now Smith eludes one, already has a try, but it's going to be the captain with the brace. Hadding, that may well seal it for Seattle. California with the loss of man. Here comes Hadding across and down. Richard Hadding.
Hadding coming on a short ball. Nobody sees him, and he's going to dive just short with the offload. And now see what's
Of course, it would be Hadding, heavily involved in that try.
6 meters down for the Seawolves. And there's your opening by the captain Hadding. Within 4. Hadding looking for a brace.
The referee was pointing toward the sideline. Look at that looping pass over the top. He loves space, doesn't he? Hadding causing havoc.
Kelly, little stab kick through. Mires giving the chase. He's got it to Gaston Mires.
Oh, no sound.
Can't hear shit.
Don't miss
Let me
out
give it
on
this
the
one.
chance to witness history in
So I can hear.
Ladies and
I
gentlemen,
gotta
we
hear
are
him.
coming back right now. We are live. If you were hearing that noise behind us, Shaq Diesel
Yeah, man.
is in the house, baby. Shaq Diesel is here, Chicago. MLR Finals. If you aren't getting fired up and you aren't pumped up, you are wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I'm alive now.
Jeez.
I'm alive now.
Oh, yeah.
We're in the leg of the show. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
got
Oh, yeah.
36 minutes left of this show, and then we are just partying, having a good time, enjoying some great footy and some great rugby. But before we get there, let's talk about these teams, the head-to-heads, the matchups that we really are looking forward to. You know, just real quick, I'm looking at this team matchup, a Free Jacks team that is more relaxed, that's coming in more Bob Marley style, that enjoying their company, you know, just like that's no bullshit. Like watching their warm-ups yesterday, right? We started with San Diego. That's a military mindset team. That is a team that is focused, singularly focused on coming in and winning a championship. New England, it's almost like you guys are just happy to be here. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's almost like you're just happy to be here. San Diego's had tickets to this game 3 weeks ago. They were
You
looking
mean
at
they were
this,
like
right?
travel, airline?
They were
right?
travel. They had all that. So what does that mean for this mindset going into it, Matt? What do you think about this mindset, and how is that going to play into this match?
Well, it's a perceived mindset, number one, from Next Level Rugby's perceived perception of what's going on there. But, you know, there might be some validity to it. You've got All Blacks on San Diego, right? Isaac Ross and, of course, Ma'ananu. And, you know, maybe there's a little bit of how D.C. was when they went into New England. They were already playing with house money.
Yeah.
Their season was already successful. New England got that monkey off their back, winning and beating D.C. to win the Eastern Conference title. Is that enough? I think you have to be in the locker room, and we have a guy that's in the locker room for New England. His name is Thomas Wheels Grant, and he's sitting to my right.
Hey, thanks, McCarthy. I'll try and pick out any words you just said there. Shaquille O'Neal in the background. I'm a master in lip reading. Look, for the Free Jacks, it's enjoying the occasion today, right? Enjoy the occasion. Play with absolutely no fear. I know firsthand from being inside the camp that the boys are just extremely happy to be here and privileged. But play with zero fear today. There's no pressure. Obviously, you know, someone's got to come out on top. First time in a big grand final. First time playing for the championship. Just enjoy the occasion. Play with no fear. And trust your processes. You know, what's been working all season, our awesome defense, great line speed, and fantastic set piece has got us to this position today. If you back those guns, you know, and do your best, you should come out on top against a very good San Diego side. So, yeah, that's what I'm seeing from New England.
And what about the head-to-head, fellas?
Well, I think for me, one of the things that impresses me most about San Diego is they don't panic. They've had a lot of scorelines through the first 40 to 50 minutes of a match, and they don't panic that they're not totally on top of the game, that they haven't really broken through and put those points up that they're accustomed to scoring.
Yeah.
And in doing so, they're very patient. When they find their breaks, that's when they cut the throats. That's when they put on the gas. And that's where you see that up-tempo, fast, relentless style come through. And that's the game I hope we see out of San Diego today, because we will see that strong, fast offense and that tough physical defense out of New England.
And we saw that last week against Houston when San Diego just took the control of the game the first 20 minutes and really won the game there. I mean, against Seattle, against Seattle. And Seattle came back, you know, they tried to punch their way back. But DJ, from an analyst standpoint, who are you looking at in the head-to-head, or what's interesting to you in head-to-head?
Well, especially what you guys have pointed out, like New England, everything's about impact. And then the experience is what drives San Diego to put themselves in good position, because tactically the first 20 in the first half and to control that. So I'm looking at the 12s today. We have Milan, very impactful, his attacking X factor. So for every ball carry, what event's going to happen. So a tackle offload away, offload, clean break, and try assist. So 60% of the time, one of those things are going to happen through his carry. Where you're talking with Manu, he's at 45.2. But the biggest thing is obviously Milan's more of a meter gainer. And then Nanu, because of that experience, his kick rate's a little bit higher. And that's how you've seen over the past 4 or 5 weeks, he can bend a team just with his kicks and spot grass. So the backfield of New England's going to be really important today.
And Rob, you got the number 9s, right? And Ryan brought up Richard Judd, who's my MVP candidate for the season. 17 tackles against Seattle. I don't think that Coach Danny Lee and co want him to have to replicate that against a very good New England back row.
Yeah, and I've been impressed with Richard Judd throughout the season. And if there is a game that's quintessential Richard Judd, it was against Seattle. He took on attackers time after time, one of which is, of course, Danny Creel.
Yeah.
Danny Creel, I stood next to him a few weeks back, 6'4", 230, 235, a physical specimen, and Richard Judd took him on. The thing to watch for fans, pay attention to Richard Judd's shoulder. He took a few knocks there, got a lot of service by the medical staff of San Diego. So watch to see how his durability plays throughout this match, taking on the big New England offenders.
Poland plays a big game today as well.
Yeah.
A different style of 9 to Richard Judd. Richard Judd's quite combative, I think John Poland's kicking game today from number 9 is a massive key if New England are to take success today. John Poland's running lines, he gets off the back of some fantastic tries, but I think John Poland's kicking game today holds a massive key to New England's success.
And he's as cool as a cucumber.
He is.
John Poland. And by the way, he's Irish, despite his last name. Just
Yeah.
going to say that, right? Just in case there's any confusion. But he was also got his 50th cap last week, right? Against DC in that win. Great event at Quincy. But you've seen the pitch. You've been down on the pitch.
Yeah.
Do the boys want to spin the ball more here, or they want to play in tight?
I think kicking game today is extremely critical, like bringing in Jason Potros now and Will Hurley to 10s. I think seeing that pitch out there, the kicking game is absolutely critical for today. Putting each team in the right areas of the paddock is going to determine the result that happens there on the field, not just from our 9s, but from our 10s. We've seen the way Jason Potros has slotted into that Free Jacks outfit this year in the shoes of Bodine Walker. Done a great job controlling the game. Massive emphasis on Will Hurley today from San Diego. He has to control the game from the boot for them.
It's an interesting contrast between those two fly halves, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Potros both control the games, but in a very different way. Hurley, he defers to his centers a little bit more, right? As opposed to Potros, who really is controlling the game and directs traffic. He'll direct his center inside him, and will direct his centers outside him, and direct the forwards that come up, sometimes take a flat ball. So for me, I mean, Potros, the way he attacks you is so varied and so different from phase to phase. He keeps defenses kind of on their toes.
Yeah.
He reads the defense, right? And I think he's your MVP candidate with good reason.
Yeah, for me, he's MVP candidate to be able to step in and replace Player of the Year.
Another MVP.
Bodine Walker from last year is truly tremendous.
DJ, who's, from an analysis standpoint, head-to-head on the coaches, Scott Matthew and Danny Lee, what's your take on that?
Well, you could definitely see, and especially with their team IDs, like, both of the teams do have very strong defenses. Like, they're over 40 points higher than the rest of the league, coming closest to Seattle. It's just the kicking game and the way that New England impacts it, and it's very direct, same as their defense. And they actually elevated their offload rate from last year, so that counterattacking, they're able to score more tries in transition. So that's very important. And then if I'm obviously thinking about it from a Danny Lee perspective, it's like we really need to find a way to play around them. And they do have a high offload rate as well at 11.76. So if they can really get outside that 60 or 70 defender, then they can play through the channel really well. And as Scott mentioned earlier, their support play is a strength. So really making sure that 40 through 70 defenders for New England is very important.
Now, I have a question for you guys, particularly, the two guys that are close to teams. Today's field is a bigger field than what New England's accustomed to playing on, and obviously a smaller pitch is going to work to the favor of the defense. Does that impact the game at all, the size of the pitch, a little bigger pitch than perhaps New England is accustomed to playing on?
That's a good question, Rob. It was actually funny. Scott Matthew yesterday was very surprised by the width of Seatgeek Stadium. He thought it was a lot wider. So he was happy because Veterans Memorial Stadium in Quincy is that a lot tighter. So it's going to suit the way the Free Jacks play to that width. San Diego I can't speak of, but it's a good point that we pulled out there from Scott Matthew, that he was very happy with the width of the field. So, yeah.
Yeah, and 100%, like, the width is always a concern because that lets you know, like, how much distance you need to cover within your first 5 defenders. And with the shorter field, you can compact it. And for New England's strength, which is that line speed, that dominant both upper body tacklers as well, like, it's going to stop that offload rate for San Diego, and then they can easily pull away with the game very quickly.
All right, gentlemen, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about the game itself. Who's a player that you want to watch? Who's a player you want to highlight?
A guy that really leads with his actions on the field, and that's just what you want from a number 6. Gets up off the line, dominant tackles, 80 minutes back-to-back in recent weeks as well. He's got an absolute motor on him. Him up against Portavan from San Diego is a very, very exciting matchup. But in particular, I think the Battle of the Sixes, the X factor they bring on defense, their turnover ability, and their leadership styles is going to be key out there today for both sides.
Now, Wheels, one of the things that I mean, there are a lot of really.
Hey, gentlemen, I need to cut you off right now. Tell them we're getting ready to go down. We have found Ryan Patterson.
I really watch, and I'm interested in seeing, and that's because I'm a back row player.
Tell them stop. We got Ryan Patterson. Tell them we're getting ready to go.
So of course, that's what I love. But
hey,
hold on, this just in.
This is in. We've got Ryan Patterson down on the pitch. Is he ready to go? You tell him. We got him ready to go. It looks like we got Ryan Patterson ready, but it might be a little bit hard to hear what's going on down there. With it.
Your answer is, after coming out 2019 and 75, 80 seconds that left a bad taste in our mouth, and then having to go through COVID and be homeless, this means the world to us. We've established ourselves with a new stadium and a new culture, or a revised culture, I guess I should say, not a new culture, and bringing us guys together and what we've done, this means the world to us.
Absolutely, and it's translating to the results on the field. That culture, not only out in the field, but also in the stands. I'm going to throw this one out to you. What does it mean to you, as a part of the ownership circle, to see such a phenomenal turnout from the San Diego Legion and the cohort, who are, of course, are your staple, who are there no matter what, rain or shine? What does that mean to you as a part of the ownership circle?
I think it speaks to what we've tried to create over the 6 years. We've tried to create an identity with that is really about the San Diego. It's about the military. It's about the people there. It's about establishing ourselves as something that they would want to be a part of, and now they're here